where did this come from? Because it's up to us then. Look, we're the senior men, okay? We're the people who should be saying something. No. We've reinvented the wheel, and the wheel's got flat spots in it, okay? 3-man engine, if you're especially if you're from an understaffed fire operation. You only got 3 guys riding in on your engine. You've got to get the line out at a working fire. You've got to, okay? And if you don't do it, who is going to? Or when is it going to get done? And by that time, the fire is going to be well beyond what it is right now. And if you think you're going to go run inside and rescue, and there's going to be somebody arriving in the next 90 seconds or 2 minutes to stretch the line at that point, well, these are the stories we hear about where a fireman rushes in, gets caught in the flashover, and he's burned up pretty bad. Because why? Because they didn't follow the basics. It was a working fire. We should have been putting water on it. Okay? Remember this. Now, this is a thing that's up for debate. Well, is being debated everywhere about what the first engine with 3 people should be doing. And it's gotten us so far out of control, gotten away from the basics. So.
All right. So one of those, you just hit on another question that was in our outline here. And it's more scenario-based. So let's dive into it from Kyle R. Kyle says, in a poll I posted recently, I gave this scenario. You have a crew of 3, driver, boss, and pipemen. Arrive on scene to find a 2-story wood frame structure with fire showing on the first floor. Mom points at the window on the second floor, Alpha side, in the AB Alpha Bravo corner and says, my child should be in that room. Second in engine is 90 seconds away. What do you do with your current manpower? Do you ladder the window or stretch to the fire? What are your thoughts?
You stretch.
It all depends on how good your engine company is.
You've got 3 guys.
So fire's on the first floor. It's a private house. I'm guessing 40 feet off the curb at best. Right? We're not talking about a 300-foot front lawn.
No.
So my nozzle firefighter takes the line and gets in the front door and applies water in the front door. My chauffeur gives them water. And then depending on my crew, depending on my nozzleman, depending on myself as the officer, I either stay with my nozzle and push and put the fire out and tell the second dude to get them, or maybe I throw the ladder if the nozzleman can get most of the fire from the front door. There are variables, but someone has to put water on the fire. Maybe the chauffeur throws the ladder and gets it in position for the second due engine that's 90 seconds behind him. All we have to do is look at Keokuk, Iowa. Mm-hmm. A valiant effort to save 3 kids, and we end up killing 3 kids and 3 firefighters. Someone has to put water on the fire. Maybe the chauffeur lays on the front lawn and throws water in the front windows and darkens down the fire, while the nozzleman and the officer go for the people. But somewhere in there, someone's got to put water on the fire.
Amen.
All right.
Amen. That's what we're supposed to do, is put the fire on when we get there. And who better than the engine?
Yeah, there's 3 people that can have the nozzle on a 3-person crew. When we don't want to have it, that's the chauffeur. When we prefer not to have it, that's the officer. We'd like the nozzleman to have it. That leaves 2 people to do the other jobs. If I have a brand new rookie firefighter, then I'm staying with the firefighter. If I have a seasoned firefighter that I know can get in the front door and put out the living room from the front door, then I'm probably going to go try to get up and get the second floor. There's too many other variables for that simple an answer. And one of the things you talk about when you talk about training is, so how many things are we talking about now in this operation? Stretching of a pre-connect, getting water, getting dressed, throwing a portable ladder, doing VES. So now there's a whole bunch of other things, and now you got to look at your crew and say, well, am I actually capable of doing any of them, or should I just go put the fire out and hope the second due engine's a little better?
Wasn't there a phrase out there a couple of years ago that we can multitask? We're not doing just one thing. We're doing multiple things when we have a 3-man crew at the scene of a fire like this. Multiple things. And you hit on it, Bob. Firefighting is circumstantial. And I know we've said this 100 times before. Firefighting is circumstantial. Where the location of the fire is. Who do you have in the nozzle? What's your fire attack capabilities? In other words, what do you set up with your attack lines and so forth? And that can mean the difference between a stop and a save. And that's, one of those things where you're going to have to take an aggressive stance on this thing. That's all there is to it. You're going to have to take an aggressive stance. And you're going to be doing a couple of jobs. The pump operator, once he gets set up, yeah, he can throw that ladder. He can start knocking out windows and so forth. And that's, part of the thing about everybody's going to do a couple of jobs. The boss, if he thinks he can make it up that stairways after this nozzle man gets that nozzle in the door. And by the way, that's an interesting thing to be thinking about. You're talking about the experience of the nozzle man. At a training fire last year, I was hiding upstairs. I don't know if I told this story or not. But anyways, I was hiding in the smoke, and as the second line came upstairs, and I was listening to them, 1001, 1002, 1003. A 15/16 nozzle on an 1 3/4 line at 180 gallons a minute is throwing about 3 gallons a second. So as these guys would open up the nozzle and close it down, I was counting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then shut it down. 9 gallons of water was discharged when these guys hit the fire. Then they moved in, then they opened it up 2 seconds the next time, and then 4 seconds the next time. So all in all, they probably 9, 12, if you do the math, about 25 gallons of water were used. This is the scenario that we're talking about. You got to be aggressive. And if you got this situation with 3 people, that now may get that door open, he starts playing that thing full open and just lets it roll. If he runs the tank out of the engine, I don't care. He'll have enough water in there to control that situation. Now the officer, knowing that's happening, is going to be able to determine, can I get up the stairs and do that quick primary? And now we got different things covered with that 3-man crew. But you're right, Bob. A lot of things comes down to the experience of who's in the nozzle, the experience level of the officer, the multitasking of the pump operator, getting his job done, and then going after the windows. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do. Can't we?
It also brings up another concern in the fire service. There's a lot of things we're never supposed to do, so we don't talk about them. If I'm searching on the floor above and my partner finds someone, we both should leave. Well, unless there's more people. Well, you got to stay with your partner. I can't go into a burning building by myself. I have to have a partner. So there's a great example of, someone, let's say the second due engine isn't 90 seconds behind. Let's say it's 4 or 5 minutes behind. Well, now someone is going to be alone. And for the ones that tell you, oh, no, well, then say, okay, it's your house then, and it's your kid. So you're fine with no one trying to get your kid until the second due engine gets here, right? Mm-hmm. So, I talk a lot when I do classes talk about the things that we're not supposed to do so we have a clue what to do when they happen. So it's the sleepover, and there's supposed to be 5 kids upstairs, and you and your partner go upstairs, and you immediately find one. Are you both leaving? Probably not. So we better talk about how we're going to operate. We have to figure out what our comfort level is. I can't find a fire. Does the line follow me everywhere searching for it? Or does the line anchor a spot and I have to go a little ways on my own to try to find it? A recent fire, terrible smoke showing out one window on the second floor. The engine crew goes up the stairs. The officer goes right. The nozzle follows the officer. They get in that room. They can't find the fire. Well, the fire was the other end of the house. That was the only window that was open, so of course it was showing the most. And luckily the second line came up the stairs, and here comes the fire marching down the hallway. Yeah. So at some point that engine officer is going to be alone a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to go 150 feet away from the nozzle the first time you do it, but 3 or 4 feet might be a requirement. So we might as well talk about it, might as well train, might as well learn communications with the nozzleman. Hey, hold on to my boot. I'm going to lay in the hole and see if I can reach the next door frame.
Yep.
Whatever it is, but talk about it now before you're forced into doing it, or you're going to have the nozzle following you through this whole place, and then both of you are going to be out of position.
Yeah. And by the way, that thing about the ladies pointing up to the bedroom window says, "I think he's in there. I think he's in there." You know, you cannot put your stock in that. If this victim is even partially conscious, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go to safe refuge. They're going to try and get away from that atmosphere, that environment. You know, you're looking around at this bedroom, you're looking in the closet under the bed, you know, the typical stuff you're told to look for. And the person made it out, got in the bathroom, got in the bathtub, and after the smoke lifts, you hear the water running, and that's what the person did. They were mobile for a while, so they weren't where the firemen were told to start looking. You know.
Yeah, if they say the 3-month-old is in the crib, the 3-month-old is probably in the crib. If the 3-year-old was playing with toys, the 3-year-old can be anywhere. If the 30-year-old, they either went to fight the fire or tried to get out a different way.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why we try to get that information if possible. You know, it might help us to know that it was a 3-year-old. Okay, well, it was there, but I don't know if they're going to be there.
Yeah.
All right, so